Fill your thirst beside the river. Wash the journey from your hand. Feel the comfort flow inside you. Come this far, you understand.
Hi, welcome to Healing Outside the Box. I'm Rosemary Lachance, an energy healer and a spiritual advisor and teacher.
And I'm Carla Agustyn, a spiritual teacher.
Tonight we are continuing our Life Explained series, which will give you food for thought information about spirituality based on the teachings of Hans Wilhelm from his series. We will play one or two different DVDs and then have dialogue about it. We encourage you to call or email us or write to NHTV with your questions, and we will answer them on the show or privately if you prefer. This is not a religious show, and no matter what religion or belief you follow, the information we give you will only enhance your beliefs. We do not try to convince you of anything. This series is recorded and will be shown in your area on your local public service cable network. Please contact them for dates and times.
Please visit Rosemary's or Hans's website, where you'll find a wealth of information about our show and this series. Now, our shows are available for you to watch on YouTube for free. Just go on YouTube and type in Healing Outside the Box to make your choices. We are constantly adding new shows, so please keep checking back. Now, we're also on Facebook under Healing Outside the Box. Please like our page for the latest information about our show. We hope you enjoy the show.
Okay. Tonight's show is titled The Sermon on the Mount and Letting Go. So we're going to play you the first video, Sermon on the Mount, and then we'll have dialogue about it.
Hi, I'm Wilhelm. In many of my videos, I've mentioned that divinity gave us 3 recommendations of how we should live. There were the Golden Rule, the 10 Commandments, and the Sermon on the Mount. Now, not many viewers of my channel are familiar with the teachings and life of Christ, and even many Christians hardly remember the Sermon on the Mount if they have ever read it. And yet, that is the path within, the path to God, the path of perfection. Christ gave this teaching about 2,000 years ago. Most scholars believe that it was written down 100 years later in the Gospel of Matthew. After it was memorized, told, retold, and retold, and retold, written down, copied and recopied and translated, many little changes, variations, and alterations have slipped into the text, so the text we find in the Bible is far from authentic. And yet, the deeper meaning, the true essence of the Sermon on the Mount still holds true for us today. And in this video, I want to remind us of the most significant lessons that we can find in Christ's Sermon on the Mount. The additional explanations that I share with each teaching are coming from a book in which Christ himself deepened, explained, and corrected the words. Blessed in the spirit are the poor, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Christ explains, the word the poor does not mean material poverty, but it refers to those who do not strive for personal possessions and to hoard goods. Their inner wealth is a life in God, a life for God and for their neighbor. Blessed are those who grieve, for they shall be comforted. Christ explains, the grief of man does not come from God. God's mercy will be granted to the one who bears his grief without accusing his neighbor, recognizing his faults and weaknesses in the grief, repenting of them, asking for forgiveness and forgiving. Blessed are the meek, for they will possess the earth. Christ explains, the one who has become selfless love is also meek, humble, and kind. He is filled with wisdom and strength. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. Christ explains, practice a positive way of living and thinking, and you will very gradually become a righteous person. Then you will bring the righteousness of God into this world. Blessed are the merciful, for they will attain mercy. Christ explains, all people who practice being merciful will also attain mercy.
Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will behold God. Christ explains, because they have again become images of the Heavenly Father. From their pure, meek heart flows gentleness and humility. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Christ explains, those who keep peace will also bring true peace to this earth, because they have become peaceful in themselves. Blessed are those who suffer persecution for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of God. Christ explains, recognize, the one who followed me was not respected by the worldlings, because I too, as Jesus, was held in disdain by them. Woe unto you who are rich, for you have received your consolation in this life. Christ explains, a person who is rich in earthly goods and has recognized that his wealth is a gift which he has received from God only to bring it into the great whole for the well-being of everyone and to administer it in the right way for all, is the one who actualizes the law of equality, freedom, unity, and brotherhood. In this way, a balance will gradually be established, an upper middle class for all those who are willing to selflessly fulfill the law, pray, and work. Woe unto you who are sated, for you will hunger. Christ explains, the wealthy, sated man who fills only his own barns is empty of heart. Woe unto you who love now, for you will mourn and weep. Christ explains, for whoever judges and condemns his neighbor, laughs at him, scorns and ridicules him, judges, condemns, laughs at, scorns and ridicules me, the Christ. Recognize that whoever sins against the least of my brothers sins against the law of life and will have to suffer from this. Woe unto you when all men speak well of you, for so did their forefathers with the false prophets. Christ explains, if you flatter your fellow man so that he praises you and holds you in esteem, then you are like counterfeiters who, for the sake of their own advantage, pay in false coin. Reconcile with your brother. Christ explains, the commandment to forgive and ask for forgiveness holds true until all that is not in accordance with the eternal laws is atoned and cleared up. Reach agreement with your adversary quickly while you are still on your way with him. Christ explains, do not let the sin that you committed against your neighbor linger. Clear it up as quickly as possible, for he is still with you on your path through life in an earthly existence. But I say to you, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you. Christ explains, every person should see his neighbor, his brother and sister in each of his fellow men. Even in your seeming enemy, you should recognize your neighbor and strive to love him selflessly. The seeming enemy can even be a good mirror for your self-recognition. For when something in your neighbor upsets you, the same or similar is in you as well. For if you love those who love you, what reward will you have? Christ explains, therefore accept and receive your neighbor in your heart, even if he does not love you, even if he does not help you and ignores you, love him. Give selfless love, as the sun gives to the earth, and respect all people, all being. And if you desire something which causes another pain and sorrow, tear it out of your heart. Be therefore perfect as the Father in heaven is perfect. Christ explains, if therefore you have to endure pain and sorrow, do not blame your neighbor for your condition. You are the creator of it yourself, and not your neighbor. Your pain and your sorrow are the seeds of your soul that have sprouted and show themselves in or on your body as harvest. Do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your arms remain secret. Christ explains, the one who does good for his neighbor only when the latter thanks him for it and praises his good deeds has not done it for his neighbor, but for himself. But when you pray, go into your chamber. Christ explains, when you pray, withdraw into a quiet chamber and immerse deeply into your inner being, for the Spirit of the Father, whose temple you are, dwells in you. Recognize, the deeper the person immerses into the divine wisdom, the fewer words he will use in prayer. His prayers are short yet powerful, because the word radiates the power that is lived. Do not murmur like hopeless people, Christ explains. Do not mourn your dead. The temporal, the life in the body, is not the life of the soul. The soul took on flesh for just a short segment of life in order to clear up and settle in the temporal what it had inflicted upon itself in different earthly garments. No one can serve two masters, Christ explains. Both the human being on earth and the soul in the spheres of purification will one day be led to the decision to serve God or Mammon, to be for God or against God. Therefore do not be concerned about the evil of tomorrow, Christ explains. Only the one who doesn't entrust himself to God, letting the days slip by and not using them, worries about tomorrow. Plan each day and plan well, and allow yourselves time for some reflection, to find inner stillness and think over your life and planning again and again. Do not judge, that you will not be judged. Christ explains. Recognize that your negative thoughts, words and deeds are your own judges. Just as you treat your neighbor in thoughts, words and deeds, so will you fare yourself one day. How is it that you see the splinter in your brother's eye and are not aware of the beam in your own eye? Christ explains. And so whoever speaks negatively about his fellow man, who denigrates and slanders him, does not know his own faults. The one who first discards his own faults is also able to help his neighbor. This is why everyone who speaks disparagingly about his brother's faults, and in so doing does not notice the beam in his own eye, is a hypocrite. Whatever you want that people should do to you, do it likewise to them. Christ explains, it is unlawful to force, from an attitude of expectation, your fellow man into actions, statements, or certain behaviors which of yourself you would not be willing to do. What you do not want to be done to you, you should not do to any of your neighbors either. For everything that goes out from you returns to you. For this reason, examine your thoughts and guard your tongue. I compare the one who hears these words of mine and follows them with a wise man who built his house solidly upon a rock. These are just a few highlights from the Sermon on the Mount. They are taken from this little book in which Christ explains, deepens, and corrects the text in great detail. Christ said that the Sermon on the Mount is the inner path to the heart of God which leads to perfection and freedom. This little book itself is an excerpt from this divine work of Revelations called This is My Work, the Alpha and Omega, in which Christ reveals the truth about his teachings and his life on earth.
I will put a link to both books under this video and also on my website lifeexplained.com on the recommendation list. I wish you peace.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad we finally did this one.
Yeah.
This is really, really good. He did a wonderful job explaining
He did. He
each
did.
one.
Yeah.
I was hoping you could begin, though, with just telling us, briefly, what is the sermon?
Okay.
It's Sermon on the Mount, right? So
Okay.
what is it? Yeah.
Well, when Christ walked the earth and they were following him, everybody was following him, he wanted to teach them. They said to him, Master, how do we get to heaven? Okay? And he said, sit down, and they did, as you've probably seen the movie, and he sits up on top and he explains, there's two things you have to do. God gave it to us, Christ gave it to us. God gave us the 10 Commandments.
Mm-hmm.
Follow the 10 Commandments.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's easy, right? No. Then Christ told us the Sermon on the Mount, which we're going to discuss tonight, and try to break it down. These are the two things. If you just do these things in the Sermon on the Mount and the 10 Commandments, you'll go to heaven. Easy? No. It's
Right.
not easy.
It sounds easy.
It's like, yeah.
I mean, it sounds like, that's a short list, right?
Yeah. No, but it's not
Things
easy.
to do.
Because when you examine every single one of them, like love your neighbor even though he treats you badly, how many people can do that?
Right.
You want to punch him in the nose.
Right.
Lots
Right.
of things, and when you see somebody doing something wrong, you can't. And when you look at someone and you say, he said, you said, what you see wrong in him, you have in you. Oh, no. No, 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 no. I'm not like him. I did that with my mother. We were like cat and dog. And somebody told me that, and I said, I'm not like my mother. No way, no how. And then I started thinking about it, and I go, oh my God, I do have a lot of her traits. And as each one I looked at and realized it fell away from me. And then it didn't make me angry when she did it.
Yeah.
And that's how it happens, you know?
Right, yeah.
So that's what the Sermon on the Mount is all about.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, and I found like with him going through and listing them all and giving the explanations that they really, you can kind of break it down, right? You know, like all of them are there, it seems like they're either referring to do unto others as you would have them do unto you, right? Don't judge other people, okay, which is do unto others. Be kind, be selfless, be giving. Forgive and be forgiving. So it just seems like all of them, it just seems that all that same pattern.
You're right.
Of
it is.
being kind, being forgiving, don't judge, treating others as you want to be treated.
Yep. It is. That's what it really all boils down to. Loving one another, like brothers and sisters. Loving everyone. And that's hard.
Pretty brilliant to get it down to,
Yeah.
you know, a couple of dozen of them of just rules to live by.
That's
as
what they
best we can, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Rules to live by. Yep.
Rules to live by.
As best you can.
Yeah.
If you conquer some of them, you made a lot of headway. You know, because it's difficult, especially in today's day and age. It's very difficult to do all those things. So.
Yeah, it's very difficult to do them. Yeah.
But it, like, do unto others. If you know that one. Okay, that's my favorite. Now, if you think about that, you do something to someone, and you hurt their feelings, and you think, why did his feelings get hurt? You know, why? I just said that, and then stop and think about it. How would you feel if it was said to you? That's all you have to do, and put yourself in their shoes, and imagine that person looking at you and saying that same thing to you. How do you feel?
How do you think you'd feel?
Right.
Yeah.
If you stop and do that. In other words, there's a saying, walk a mile in their shoes.
Yeah.
Put yourself in their shoes. It's all the same thing.
Well, I mean, even when you're a little kid, your mother's always like, well, how would you feel if somebody said that to you? How would you feel if someone did that to you?
Right.
You know, would you like that? You know.
And the splinter, you know.
Yes.
Don't try to get out the splinter out of your neighbor's eye until you get the beam out of your own eye. What that means is you're judging them for something. Look at yourself.
Right.
Yours is even bigger than theirs.
Yeah.
Because you see they're wrong, and you're also judging them yourself. So that's another good one.
It's good things to just catch yourself on, because sometimes we just are oblivious that we're even doing it. So it's good to catch yourself with it. I thought we could, because he just did such a great job, like boom, boom, boom. I was glad he did it like that, you know, and it's worth watching. Again, you know, you can watch it on YouTube under Hans's website.
Yes.
His channel on YouTube.
On YouTube, Life Explained videos, yep.
But I thought it might be fun if we went through and if we talked about like which one was our favorite, you know, which one we like. And the do unto others as you have, is that the golden rule?
That's the golden rule.
That's the golden rule, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, you know what I learned from the group that I follow? Those were part of the 10 Commandments.
Really?
Do unto others. And then the second part, 11, that was 11. And 12 was do not do unto others what you do not want done to you.
Oh, wow.
So there actually was 12 commandments.
Really?
Yeah. And
Oh,
those
that's
are
a
the
new
two of
one
them.
on me.
Now, those are so powerful. I mean, you say, well, why aren't they there? Well, because when they got those Dead Sea Scrolls and they started to write them, explain them in all the languages, the different religions changed the wording to suit their particular religion. The leaders, so to speak, changed things around. And you can't prove it. You can't say, well, how do you know? Because God is telling us.
But yet we still have it, though.
Right, we still have it.
Do unto others.
But so Christ put it in the Sermon on the Mount. So, but that's where it really belongs, in the 10 Commandments.
So was it missing as number 11, and someone said, and who would that someone be? Oh, let's just make it the golden rule, or what? Why? You know.
Well, that's not in the Ten Commandments about the Golden Rule at all.
I
Somebody
thought you said
mentioned
that
it.
was number 11.
It was a number 11, I'm saying.
Yeah.
And number 12 was don't do
Right.
anything. Okay, so they were originally in the Ten Commandments,
Right.
but somebody took them out. So I'm
Right.
saying. So Christ, when he did the Sermon on the Mount, because came later, Ten Commandments came first, he mentioned those two things.
Oh, okay. That's how it
That's why
happened.
he said them
Okay,
again.
so it was Jesus that did.
Yep.
Okay. All right. All right. So which one is your favorite?
That one.
You like that one
Yeah,
the best?
that's my favorite because, I mean, it really explains, now every time I talk to someone or do something, I may get carried away a little bit, but right away that hits me in the face again. Wait a minute, would I like this to be done to me? I better not do it. Do I want this said to me? I better not say it.
Yeah.
I examine everything now. It took me a long time to do that.
Yeah.
I would just blurt it out. And sometimes if I'm really angry, I'll blurt it out too. But, but that to me is like, that's like the first thing you got to get under your belt to get to heaven. Because treating other people like you want to be treated.
Yeah, you can see why it's the golden rule, because if you can't do anything else, just try to do this one.
Yeah, right.
Just try to do this one.
And that will encompass a lot of things.
Right.
know?
Cover a lot of bases.
Yeah.
Just treat others how you really, truly want to be treated.
Right.
Yeah.
Think about that.
That is a good
What
one.
you say, your thoughts, your words, your deeds. Let them be only what you would want to happen
Would you want
to you.
anybody judging you? Would you want anybody to think negative thoughts about you? Wish negativity upon you? Be nasty to you? Yeah, just treat others.
Yeah. To me, I think that's I would say that's the most powerful one. You know? How about you?
Yeah, I didn't know till I was listening and I really reflected on it, but I actually have two and they're related. And the first one is, no one can serve two masters. And this really resonated with me because he said you're either for God or you're against God, okay? You're either worshiping God or you're worshiping the devil. And I'm seeing that a lot now, and I'm trying to get another show off the ground about good and evil, because so many people, I just think it resonates with today. So many people are saying that we're witnessing really in the world a battle between good and evil.
We
And
are.
it's like you do need to pick a side. Is it God you worship or is it something else that you worship?
Yeah,
Are you
Satan,
for
Lucifer,
God
yeah.
or are you not for God? So I really like that. It's just concrete and it's like, hey, there's no in between. This is something, there's no, you're either for God or you're for Satan, and so I like it that it does that it's just very specific.
I'm going to bring something up to you. I was reading somewhere, I think it was on Facebook. Somebody put the quote, you can't serve God and your country at the same time. And everybody got mad. Why? Oh, why? What do you mean? What do you mean? And after they got through arguing, I figured it out and I said, you know why? Because in war, you have to kill someone.
Right.
They teach you to kill. And God teaches you not to kill. Okay? That's the way it is. He doesn't say murder or anything else. Killing. When you killed the so-called enemy in the war, that's your brother. And God do not kill.
Right.
Period.
Right.
For any reason whatsoever. And that's what they meant when they said that. You can't serve God and serve your country at the same time. Because, and it brought me to that movie Hacksaw Ridge.
Oh, I don't know.
And I started getting to a talk with the people on that. It was about a man who was a conscientious objector, as they call them. True story. If you haven't seen the movie, you should see it. Hacksaw Ridge. You can watch it. It's on TV. It's on the, you can rent it. And he couldn't kill anyone. He said, I'll serve my country, but I can't kill anyone. He said, and he prayed to God. He said, let me serve you. Let me help. I'll go into the war and I'll help. And they gave him such a hard time. And worse come to worse, he finally was able to do it. And that movie is so touching. He didn't kill, he saved. And he didn't get killed because he was protected by God, plus through the different soldiers who helped him protect him. Please, everybody, go see that movie or rent that movie. You can't go and see it. Rent it and watch it. Hacksaw Ridge. It's excellent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotta see it. So
yeah,
see,
I
there
know,
we are.
I know.
And all he did was save lives. He saved so many lives
Yeah.
of the Americans, and he even saved some of the Germans too.
Yeah.
Or no, was it Chinese? What was the last war?
I've
don't
heard
even
of
remember,
this.
yeah.
I have heard
Yeah.
of this. Yeah.
He saved both sides.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, of course, they became prisoners of war, but still, he saved their lives.
Yeah.
And he made a lot of them think, geez, this is my
Wasn't
enemy.
he like a
and he's
medical person
saving
or
me.
something?
Yeah.
Wasn't he doing that?
No, he was rescuing them, pulling
Yeah.
them off the field. Yeah, he was a
Yeah,
medic.
he was a medic. Yeah. Yeah.
He was a medic.
Yeah. I had heard that story. And the other one that I love about serving the two masters also is, therefore, do not be concerned about the evil of tomorrow. Okay? And he said, only the one who doesn't trust God worries about tomorrow. Just plan each day and plan it well, which I thought was interesting kind of advice, interpretation, if you will, of it. Just plan today, just don't, I guess, wallow away because you'll just start worrying about tomorrow. And I think with all that's going on in our world, of course, it's 2020, we're in the middle of a pandemic, and just everything that's happening, and just the talk that's out there, and just so many opposing viewpoints and things like that, it's very easy to just worry about tomorrow and get really upset.
Get caught up in it.
People have real concerns, whether it's medical or economic, and I just think just don't be concerned about the evil of tomorrow. So I don't know, it's just a good one to.
It's a good one, and
to
it's
trust.
hard to do.
It's really hard.
Because people
It's
never,
hard
I don't
to
think they in their
trust.
wildest dreams ever thought this would happen.
This would happen to us. All of a sudden, boom, we have no rights, really. Right? You can't. Here they are. This is
America, the land of the free.
Thanksgiving week here,
anymore.
and we're being told how many people can show up at your house, and what you can do, and you're not supposed to sing, and you're not. It's like it's getting a little bizarre. It's. I wasn't comfortable 6 months ago with everything that was happening. This is starting to get a little bizarre, and it's feeling evil. It's really starting to feel evil. It's like, okay, Carla, don't hyperventilate here. Just go back to trusting God, because that's it. This is above us, right? No one's.
Me too.
No one's
also.
calling us to see how we want to take, solve all the problems. So, it's like all I can do. I think, okay, I'm overwhelmed, but I'm just going to trust God, pray to God. Worship God, and
that's all you can do.
That's all I can do.
You can
just
do.
Put my faith there.
So all you can do is trust is trust in Him, and just exactly what you said. People never thought this kind of thing would happen.
No, they never thought that we'd have this, that we'd ever see our rights.
They didn't
being
realize
taken
what was
away.
going on behind the scenes. That's
Right.
all coming out now.
It's all coming out.
So many things are coming out about so many people that we thought were wonderful,
I know.
and we're finding out they're not.
And they're not wonderful, and they were doing deceitful things,
That's
and they
right.
were deceiving us, and it's
People
just,
say they
it's
want to go back the way it
upsetting.
was, and I say no.
Yeah, we want it better.
I want it to go back the way it was. I want it to be better than it was,
Better.
because it wasn't good.
Right.
It's just that we didn't know about it.
Right,
Okay?
right.
So now we know about it, folks. What are we going to do about it?
Now what? Now
Okay.
what? And I think it's just so important to be aware, to educate yourself, just be aware of what's going on, be open to other viewpoints. Somebody may say something that's very frustrating to you, but listen to the viewpoint and think, what if they're right? And what if I'm wrong? Because it is very humbling when you realize you're wrong, right? I've done a lot of research, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I voted for that person. What an awful person. Once I looked at the research that's out there now about an individual.
In the past, you mean?
Yeah, in the
I know.
past.
I know. I voted for one that I
it's
should have
like,
never voted for.
Wow, this is like, but it's humbling, but now I know, right?
That's
So
right.
we're responsible for knowing evil. We're responsible for being aware of evil.
That's right.
We've talked about this before in the show, and I talk about it a lot. On my new show, it's not you cannot get away with, oh, I didn't know that was evil. That's not acceptable, because when you aren't aware, that's the same as being complicit. So you do need to be aware of evil, and you do need to be looking into things and understanding it. But same token, when you start going down that rabbit hole, you know, it can get like overwhelming and upsetting. It's just hand it all back to God. Just, God, take this over. I can't. I'm aware of it. I know this is evil. I know what I should do that's good. And just you take care of everything else, you know, and you protect me and my family.
See, people didn't think they needed God. Life was, so hunky-dory.
No,
Everything's
I know,
going right and everything
I
else.
know.
But it was a sham.
Yeah.
It's a sham world.
Right.
And we didn't know.
If you're stuck in lockdown and you're quarantined, and some people are more afraid than others, but if you're quarantining, develop a relationship with God. I mean, you probably already have one if you're watching this show, you know, but develop a relationship with God. Have it ongoing. I was just reading something. It's an app I have, and I get a daily, like, inspirational thing. And just your relationship with God is simply, you know, when you thank God for something. Oh, thank you, I'm catching the sunrise. Thank you, you know, my coffee tastes good. Thank you, I'm not sick. Thank you, my friend's tests came out okay. Just if you thank God all day long, that's having
You're absolutely
a
right.
relationship
I'm glad you
with
brought that up.
God. Yeah,
because
just have a relationship.
I wake up every morning and I thank Him for the sleep.
Yes.
I thank Him for my wonderful soft bed. I thank Him for my kitty cat, who is my best friend. I thank Him for my car that keeps running. The more you thank God, the more you have. The more grateful you are, the more you'll get, because you're not asking for anything, and God will give you what He knows is right for you. But people lost their faith before this happened. They really lost their faith.
I think so, yeah.
You know, and
Yeah,
now,
life is good, I don't need God.
Right, I don't need
on
God.
On an unconscious level, people think that.
That's right.
You may not voice it out loud, but on an unconscious level, people think that.
You're exactly right.
I don't have to bring God in, everything is good, but it's like, no, I bring God in a lot when everything is good.
That's right.
Because I know who to thank.
That's right.
Yeah.
Be grateful all the time.
Yeah,
be
be
grateful for
grateful.
everything that you can see and hear and smell and taste and walk.
Yeah.
All those things, okay? Thank Him for everything. All right? I mean, not that He punishes people who don't have it, but it's their karma, and they're living it out, and you just bless them and just say they have great courage to be able to do that, and God is helping them too.
Right.
But just all the things you get, the little things you get, every time when I do something wrong and I get corrected and I just miss some kind of a tragedy, I think, oh, thank you for telling me that. Thank you for reminding me. Those are the things that I say, you know. And I actually have to take that back. I don't like saying, I'm grateful I'm not blind. I'm grateful I can walk, because it means almost like he's punishing the other people, but He's not.
Oh, right.
It's not a punishment. Okay? The only reason that you don't do it is because you didn't do anything that you had to say to do that in your karma. That you had to learn. That's the only reason. Okay, so I want to clear that up, you know.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. Every day.
Yeah.
And hold tight to Him.
Yes.
Okay? It's a shame it had to come to this to have it happen. A lot of people are finding their faith with this.
Are you hearing that? Are you hearing
Yeah.
that? A lot of people are, yeah.
Yeah. And then also you're finding out who your friends are and who aren't.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are turning on other people, turning them in,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
They don't
Yes.
want to be friends with you if you don't like a certain candidate, all right? They don't want to be friends with you if you're not fearful like them
Yes.
from this virus.
Yes.
All these reasons.
I know.
And we're finding out who are our true friends.
Yes. Yep. Yep. And then sometimes too, maybe you need to move on from friends. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, maybe it's just time. Sometimes you do, you know. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I wrestle with that a little bit, but I think sometimes you do. Sometimes you need to find like-minded people. You need to find people that are thinking the way that you do. And I say that knowing that we grow from being with people that aren't, but, you know, who have a different opinion. That's, I guess, different. But it's nice to be with people that have the same values. I guess that's what I mean by like-minded. Not necessarily the same opinion, but have the same values as you do.
Well, there's a line here. I like people who give me food for thought.
Yes, for sure.
But I don't like people who try to force me to believe as they do.
Yes, right.
So if somebody's trying to force you,
right,
you know this is wrong.
right,
This is wrong, wrong, wrong.
right,
Everybody has the right to feel the way they feel.
right.
That's why we say on the show, we're not trying to force you to believe anything.
Correct.
We're just, here's the information. And that's the way I like to have conversations with people. What do you think? Or what do you think? But not, you know, don't. No, you got to believe what I say. You got to believe this. No, no, no,
Right.
no.
You have to believe everything they say on TV. You have to believe everything.
The news.
The news. You
Oh,
have to
jeez.
believe everything, you know, and it's like, well, no, if you do your own research, you're going to find other things. You know, I don't necessarily believe it, you know, and I won't name names, but there's people that have spoken out like about this virus, and it's like, I don't trust them, what they say about it.
me
You know,
too.
where there's people, political leaders in this state, I don't trust them because they were caught in a lie. You know, they were lying about something. So it's like, well, I don't trust you, what you have to say about the virus or anything, because, you know, you're to me, you're not truthful.
Right.
So
The truth is coming out.
and
Big
truth is
time.
coming out.
And people are afraid of that too, because
Yeah.
I trusted them. I trusted them. What he said I thought was true. I trusted the news. I didn't have to do anything. I could sit on my
I
couch
trusted the-
and they tell me everything.
I trusted the voting system.
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
that's another thing.
and stuff like in our state we have dominion. It's like, how many states have dominion? And it's like, well, you know, it casts doubts. It's like, well, was there cheating in our state? Like, oh, I don't even want to go there. But people are starting to demand audits that happen, because it's like, you know, when things are close, were they really close? I don't know. It's just a lot of things are getting raised,
That's
right?
right.
A lot of things are getting raised.
The dirty laundry is finally being washed. So people can see what's really going on. And some people are in a total panic because now what do I do? You do for yourself. That's what you do, like you said. Do your own research.
Yeah.
Don't just look in one place. Look in a lot of different
Look in
places.
a lot of
Talk
different
to people.
places, yeah.
People who don't try to convince you, but just say certain things. Read. Pick up a book. Read.
Yeah.
Don't be watching the news on looking at the news on your
I
computer.
mean, we have
Look up. There's many
I
things.
mean, yes, you cannot believe everything on the internet. You definitely have to discern, but you have to discern what's on TV. We ask you to always just discern what we say, right? Like you say, we're not trying to convince people of anything. You're supposed to discern, you know, and discern on the internet and find things. You know, there's lots and lots of videos on YouTube, all kinds of people speaking about different subjects. And, you know, just find the truth for yourself, right? The truth shall set you free. It's in the Bible. The truth shall set you free.
We got a couple more minutes before we have to play the second video. And you say, how can I do this? Pray. Pray to God.
So
Ask
true.
Him to help you to
Pray.
discern.
Yes.
Ask Him to help you.
Yes.
And believe that He will.
Yes.
That's the thing. You got to believe it, and you got
Believe
to
it.
put it in His hands and let it go.
And let it go.
And believe
Yeah.
He's going to help you.
And believe, and it may not be the answer or this, but you're asking Him to solve it.
Right.
Right.
You're
and
asking
it may
Him to
not
tell
be the
you the
way.
truth.
Right.
Let you know.
It may not be the way you think it's
Thought
going
it
to
was-
go.
yeah.
But just, you know, I want to be safe. I'm afraid, but I don't want to live in fear. Help me to be healthy.
That's right.
Show me the way to be healthy. Okay. Instead of living in fear, how come more people aren't? And I understand some people have more things to, you know, because of their predisposition and all, and their health conditions. I do understand that, but even all the more, asking God, what more can I do for myself to take care of myself? And God, you help me with that.
That's
You
right.
know, because you cannot stop every germ. You cannot stop. You can put 10 masks on people. You can put gloves on people. You can have people never go outdoors. You cannot stop germs. You just can't stop them no matter what you do. We're always going to have them. So you need something more supernatural. You need God. You need God.
Wake up, and when you go to sleep,
Yes.
say these words: Father, not my will, but your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And in me. That should end your day and start it. Okay,
Okay.
we're ready to play the second one.
Yes.
Here we go.
This is a nice one.
It's a short one.
Yes. Very light.
Hi, I'm Wilhelm. The spiritual world has told us many times that time is speeding up. Things are happening faster and faster. You may have noticed it in your own life. We are invited to become flexible and get rid of extra baggage. This includes also all our unresolved relationships. But that's not so easy. Let me help you with a very good metaphor. It's the bumper car. When we drive it, we are fully in the here and now and we are having fun. We bump into others and others ram into our car. It's a blast. Even when somebody willfully bumps us full head on, like here, we laugh and scream and quickly move on because we do not take anything personally. In our ordinary life, things are a little bit more complicated. If we feel hurt or victimized or wronged, our therapists and lawyers can carry this on for years to come, and we can carry it from lifetime to lifetime. Now somebody may say, Hans, you have no idea. Somebody hurt me so badly I could never ever forgive that person. Maybe you can't. Maybe. But listen what Byron Katie would ask you. Who is more hurtful? The person who wronged you once or you for reliving it over and over in your head? Forgiveness is something that we give to ourselves to set us free. The spiritual world encourages us to let go quickly. If somebody slaps our cheek, we are asked to give the other cheek too. This is exactly what the suffrage and the civil rights movements did. When people assaulted them and spat into their faces, their causes were much bigger than the injuries they endured. The same applies if somebody steals from us. Our ego doesn't like that because our ego identifies with the stuff we own. It's all mine, mine, mine. But the spiritual world tells us if somebody takes our coat, we shall give him our shirt as well. Do you still remember the wonderful scene in Victor Hugo's classic Les Miserables? The main character, Jean Valjean, is on the run from the police and is given shelter for the night by a very kind bishop. But during the night he decides to steal the silver from the bishop, and when he gets caught by the police, the bishop, instead of pressing charges, sends the police away and says to Jean Valjean, "My friend, you forgot these silver candlesticks. Here, take them with you and start a new life." That is true mastery. That is what you and I could do as well if our ego wouldn't stop us. It's all about our self-importance. We think we are so very, very, very important. And I will leave us with a little exercise that the spiritual world gave us to live a more serene and humble life. It suggests to repeat quietly in our mind the words, "I am not important. I am not important." Now this is quite a shock. It was at least for my ego when I heard it for the first time. But think about it, try it out, because in these words is total freedom. Self-importance has nothing to do with self-respect or self-esteem. It is the ego's nature to make us feel more superior and to be competitive with others, and that's the source of so much pain and suffering. So let us remember the metaphor of the bumper car. If somebody hurts us, we quickly let go and forgive. That way we can have a fulfilling and rich life again. And we can have fun again, just like we used to have when we drove those bumper cars. I'm looking forward to see you in my next video.
Yeah, so it's
He's
a
so
nice one,
right.
right? Yeah.
He is.
Yeah, just
Absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I first heard that I'm not important, what do you mean I'm not important? But as he explained it, now we know what it means. It has nothing to do with self-esteem, self-respect, or anything else. It has everything to do with thinking we're better than other people.
Right.
That's what he said.
Right. Just not thinking that you're better than other people. And once you realize that, I mean, it is kind of harsh when you think I'm not important, because everything in our culture, spiritual culture, is value yourself and all of that. But he's just meaning you're not better than or more deserving than someone else. I had a healer say to me, which is kind of like along the same vein, just always ask myself, like I find it something frustrating, just does it have to be my way? You know, does it have to be my way? You know, so for anything, you know, even if someone's like, no, let's go to this restaurant. Okay, does it have to be my way? You know, just do
Yeah, I
it.
learned that too.
You know, and it's it takes pressure off of you in life.
Yep.
I can't, you know, it's just like, okay, so I'm not picking the restaurant. And it's not, I don't mean you never do. It's
No,
but there's just something subtle to, you know, you're talking, you know, my husband says he wants to watch a show, and I'm like, and then he's like, oh, I really want to watch it. It's like, oh, does it have to be my way? You know, let's just, okay, fine. You know what? It's just easier.
Yeah.
It just takes the responsibility. It's like you're not responsible now. You're not responsible for the restaurant. You're not responsible for the television show. It's just
And it doesn't mean you do this all the time.
no.
It just means that sometimes you just have to.
You let
just
the
give
other
in.
person have their way.
That lesson came harsh to me one time when someone told me, "You always want your way." What do you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
When things are said to you, and they brought up a good point. When things are said to you, and you get upset, first of all, that tells you there's got something going on in you.
Right.
We know that. That's the law of correspondence. But examine what they say. Don't just, oh no, Doug, how dare you talk to me like that? Think about it. Even if when you hear something from somebody on TV or someplace else, and you say that's wrong, start thinking about it. Start really thinking about it and repeating it over and thinking about it. You're going to find out that you heard that for a reason. There's something there for you.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Every day
right.
there's lessons. Every day there's lessons for us.
There is. No, I know. Now
Yeah.
the whole idea of, you know, forgiveness, it's out there. Forgiveness is what we do for ourselves to set us free, right? So
Right.
you're not necessarily forgiving the act of somebody else, but you're forgiving so you don't hold on to it, right?
You're not condoning what they did.
You're not condoning what they
But
did.
you are forgiving them for doing it because they didn't know better at the time.
Right.
Actually.
And it just frees you up.
That's right.
You know, I mean, my understanding is it kind of frees you up. I mean, whether they knew they were doing it, even if they did it on purpose, it's just you have to just let the mess go so you can move forward in your life. That's always my understanding of it. I don't know.
Yeah,
But you just
that's true,
move,
yeah.
you move forward. And that's for them to deal with, that they did what they did, right? It's between them and God, and it's just for you to kind of keep moving forward.
When he says, you know, that used to get me angry when he say, you have to love your brother, even the man who killed your child, you have to love them. Okay, now how can I love them?
Right.
That'll never happen. But what he's not talking about loving what they did. You don't love what they did,
Right.
the act, but you love who they are because they are your brother or your sister. God created us all, every single one of us.
Right.
So you love them, the spirit of who they are, their essence, but you do not love what they did and you don't condone what they did. That's the whole, and people think that. When they say that, oh, well, that means that you're forgiven what they did.
No.
Just let it go.
Right.
That's what it did. That's what he means.
Right.
So it took me a while to find that out.
Right.
And once I realized, I said,
Right.
oh.
And it doesn't mean, right, you stay in some sort of abusive situation
No.
either. It's like, well, I have to love them. And, you know,
Right.
it doesn't mean that. It just, I mean, if you can, it's kind of like on a different level intellectually, if you can just say, okay, I don't know, to me, it's so hard to do, but it's just like that's for God to handle. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to judge, it's just for God to handle, right?
See,
I'm not going to,
it's so hard to get through life if you don't believe in reincarnation.
you know, yeah.
You know, if you don't
Right.
believe in that, you cannot figure out why things happen the way they do
Well, you know,
to certain people.
I find, like, I was thinking about this, like with forgiveness, right? So I find what I'm trying to do now, because it is easy to get your feelings. I mean, some of us, it's easier than others to get your feelings hurt, right? So something can kind of bother. I mean, I'm getting kind of tougher the older I get. But, you know, still, somebody can take you by surprise and it feels offensive,
Yeah.
whether it's somebody you know or even you don't know, right? Somebody can kind of be rude to you in a store and it's just like, ugh. It kind of just can set you off,
Yeah, the hairs
right?
go up on your neck.
Yeah, it kind of sets you off, and then, you know, or somebody can just say something, and it's just like, okay, why'd she say that? And it just hurts my feelings. And what I'm trying to do, and I'm not perfect at this by any means, but what I'm trying to do is to immediately, if I feel my feelings get hurt, it's just like, okay, so stop and think, you know, there's been times I've hurt other people, like acknowledging that. I know there's times, sometimes you just know when you've been rude, you know when you've said something mean, and then I think, but what about all the times I'm walking around clueless and I didn't know I hurt somebody's feelings, like innocently may have said something and this person's feeling hurt because either they misinterpreted what I said or it just came out wrong, or for whatever reason, right, I've hurt their feelings. And I just ask God to forgive me for all the times I've hurt people and help that person I've hurt, that I don't even know I hurt, feel better about it. So I find it kind of diffuses. If you don't get caught up in, I'm so hurt, I'm so hurt, I'm so hurt, right?
Getting what
and
we do.
You get caught up on that, and instead get out of that, you know, wheel, right? And just step over and think, you know, if I've hurt people and they feel this hurt, you know, God, would you help them heal? And I'm sorry if I have done that. Make me more aware if I'm just hurting people's feelings.
Sometimes when it happens to you, it's a message.
Yeah.
It's a message for you.
Yeah.
And think, now, why did that happen to me? What have I done? You're right. Have I treated someone like that?
Yeah.
What's the message here?
Right.
We get messages all day long.
We're getting messages
from our angels
all the time.
day long. Yep.
Right. Right.
Always.
It's just like, are you cranky? Okay, so that person in the store is cranky. You don't know why they're cranky. They're just cranky. And it's like, don't you get cranky? Don't you get, I get snippy snappy, you know, to people. So it's like, okay, I do it too. I do it. I'm not innocent of this by any means. And it's easier to kind of forgive
and when it happens to us, we go, oh, how dare he treat me like that?
Yeah.
How dare he say that kind of, who does he think he is, you know?
Yeah.
Don't look at it that way. Look at it as, what's the message here?
Right.
The ego. Oh, the ego. Oh, the ego.
You know,
it's a killer.
Yeah, right.
It's a killer.
Right.
It really is.
No, I know. The other thing too is, I'm not proud to say, but there's like this one person in my life that she has annoyed me for a long time, right? Okay, so, and something happened, a long time ago, and it hit me like, you idiot, like you're still holding on to it. And I thought, what am I going to do, die with this? Like, I don't want to die with this, right? I don't want to take it with me into the next life. I have, like, out of desperation for myself, like, you really have to let this go. You have to let this go. It's like, don't die with it, like this hurt and this anger and all this negative feelings. It's like, work on it now. Don't take it with you into the next life.
And pray about it. Ask God to help you.
Just say,
ask your angels, help me explain this to me.
When that feeling comes up of like, gosh, I'm so annoyed at it, just like stop and say, God, take it away. Just take this away. I just don't want this, right? And that's evil. Evil wants us to get worked up like that. That's what evil wants, right? That's the devil at work. It's just get worked up. Yeah, no, be mad at her. Be mad at her. Get worked up about it. Yeah, they have no right to speak to you that way. And, and then you just keep getting in. And it may be true, someone doesn't have the right to be rude to you, but you need to move on from it.
Yeah. That's right. And yet, like you said, maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe something happened to them to make them act like that. You don't know. You don't know.
You don't know. No, and I think that's where the compassion comes in and the golden rule. And it's just, okay, you may have been rude to me. I'll try to just be civil to you.
And you'll feel better for it.
And
you'll feel better for it if you can let go of that.
Yeah, you will feel better for it.
We got about 4 minutes left.
Yeah.
So is there anything more?
No, I think, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, the whole idea of forgiving and moving forward, it's just so healthy for ourselves when we can do that.
And it affects our bodies too. It affects us, our health, to hold on to things.
It definitely
it's like
does.
A sore in
it's
there.
Like, yeah.
And it can
that's
fester
another way
into,
to look at it.
Yeah.
Like, it's festering inside
That's
of
right.
you. It's bringing down your immune system.
That's right. And it could be affecting an organ in your body.
Yeah.
It could be getting a lump somewhere or something like that from that.
Right.
That's what you're holding on to, that negativity. Because illness, God didn't create illness. Therefore, it does not exist.
Yeah.
It only exists in our minds. We make it happen. Okay? So get rid of the negativity. Illness is negativity. It's negativity. All right? I don't believe in any illness because he didn't create it. It's there, but we
Right.
created it.
Right.
All right? We
Right.
created it ourselves, or certain people that are not very nice created it for their dark deeds to be done, you know? So who knows? But don't believe in it. It's not real. I mean, you suffer, you get the effects, only if it's your karma. That's what I believe. So my thing is, why are you worrying about dying from this
Right.
or that or the other?
Right. Right.
Everybody dies on time.
Yes. Yes.
If you're meant to die from
Right.
that or from whatever, when your time is up, it's up.
Right.
You're not going to die before your time.
Do what
just
you
because
can,
there's
no.
something out there.
No, no.
Why are you so
I know.
worried?
And I think this is what's happening a lot with this pandemic is people think somehow they're going to
Yeah.
go earlier than
Yeah.
they're supposed to.
Yeah,
and
they
it's
do.
like, no, none of us are supposed to be jumping out of an airplane without a parachute. None of us are. And you are supposed to do for yourself and be knowledgeable and take care of yourself. And they've given us enough warnings, right? You know, if you're over a certain age or if you're, you know, you have health conditions, all this. So we all know what to do, you
Right.
know, and you just honor your body, you honor that, honor God, and don't worry about it. That it's just, you know, like I tell everybody, I'm respectful of the virus. I don't fear the virus.
That's how I feel.
Right?
Exactly.
I'm respectful. Of course, I'm respectful
Yeah.
of it. It's a doozy for some people, you know, and I'm very respectful of it. But I'm not afraid of it. I'm not going to pretend I'm afraid of it just because a lot of people are afraid
And
of
fear
it.
brings it to you.
And yeah, that's, I mean,
What you
right.
fear comes to you.
Right.
You-
Law
'cause
of
you hold it.
attraction. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah.
So it's another one of those laws of attraction.
Right.
And you don't trust God. People who are
Right.
afraid, to me, are afraid of dying. And they don't trust God.
Trust God, yeah.
That's the whole thing. If you trust God, you can just say, Father, only your will be done. There it is again.
Right.
If I'm supposed to, help me to handle it the best I can. That's why you can live your life in peace.
And just living, yeah.
Peace.
Yeah.
Peace
Yeah.
out there. Peace.
Yeah. Peace.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
time to say goodnight.
Yes, yes.
Now we'll give our contact information. For me, my phone number 203-627-7966. White Buffalo 8@comcast.net is my email. www.rosemarylachance.com is my website. And a very important website, www.gabrielle-publishing-house.com, where you'll get a wealth of information on all the books that you will find there, spiritual books, to help you figure out life.
And I'm Carla Agustyn, and my website is the same, carlaagustyn.com. I also have a show on YouTube called Spiritual Invitation. And if you go on YouTube in the search, just type in my name and all the episodes come up.
Okay, well, we hope you
Yes.
enjoyed the show tonight, and you can let us know anytime you want and get a hold of us.
Yes.
Meanwhile, be safe,
Enjoy the
be
holidays, yes.
well, and
Be
trust
well.
in God. Mwah. Good night.
Good night.
Wash the journey from your hands. Feel the comfort flow inside you. Come this far, you understand.